All right, welcome back. We're going to get started on the second part of lesson 4. And this is going to start on page 21. And it's a short lesson here on page 21. It's the stuff to make you think and the tough stuff here. All right, here we go. So starting on 30 here. So we're still dealing with fractions, but we're going to kind of change a little bit on how we think about fractions. So here, if we agree, we have this area model here. If we agree that this whole box is equal to 1. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dots here that make an area of 1. It says find the area of each of these shaded sections. So they kind of start us off here, and they've shaded 2 of these sections out of 4 of them. And they're saying that that is a half. Okay, and you can see that these, if you just split the whole thing into 2 groups, 2 rectangles here, they've shaded in 1 of them. Okay, so here they've shaded in 1. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are identical to that size. So that is 1/4. Here, again, we're going to look at the small square here. So fourths. So you got 1 and 2. Now, the tricky part are these triangles. If we imagine that if I take this triangle and put it up here, that'll make another square. So that would be 3 out of 4. Here I've got 1, 2, 3 out of the 4 again. These 2 are the exact same area, but shaded a bit different. Here, if I take this little triangle again and plug it in up here, this whole thing will be colored in. So I'll have a half up there. So I'll have this whole triangle out of the 2 rectangles. Or sorry, this whole rectangle shaded in out of 2 that are that size. Here, I'm going to take this little triangle here and plug it in over here to color it in, and I'll have this rectangle out of 2 that are the same size. So again, we'll get a half. Okay, and we've got some of these word games here. So who am I? You have your hundreds, your tens, and your hundreds, tens, and units digit. All of my digits are odd. So that's 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. My units digit is a perfect square. Okay, if we remember from the perfect squares and put them at the top, 1, that's 1 times 1. 4, that's 2 times 2. 9, that's 3 times 3. And then it goes up to 16, which is 4 times 4, and I can't use 16. So my perfect squares are 1 or 9. So this units digit is either a 1 or a 9. None of my digits are a 1. Okay, so I can't use a 1. That means this digit here must be a 9. Multiplying h times t gives you u. Okay, so if I take this number times this number, I will get this number. And this we just said was a perfect square. And in order to do that,
Pardon the interruption, but I need all teachers who teach a virtual course this semester to please check your email right now and respond immediately. Thank you.
sorry about that. So this number right here needs to be these 2 multiplied together. So we're going to have 3 times 3. Okay, so 3 times 3 is 9. All of my digits are odd. My units digit is a perfect square. None of my digits are 1. Multiplying h and t gives you u. Okay, so 339. All right, who am I? I am a multiple of 10. Okay, so this number is a multiple of 10. That means that this units digit has to be a 0. Okay. My tens digit is twice my hundreds digit. So this digit is 2 times whatever this is. My hundreds digit is odd. So this number right here is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay. My hundreds digit is greater than 1. So it's not 1. Now, if this is a 3, this is a 9 because the tens digit is double. If this is, or sorry, this is 6. If this is 5, this is 10, and that can't happen. If this is 7, this is 14. If this is 9, this is 18. That can't happen. So the only thing, this could be a 3, and that has to be a 6. So 360. It's very helpful to kind of make out and chart some of your numbers, make it a little cheat sheet here. Who am I? Okay, so now we have a decimal. Okay, so we have tens, hundreds, thousands, and the units digit. Exactly one of my digits is prime. Okay, so it might be a while since we talked about prime numbers, but prime numbers are numbers who are only multiplied by 1 in itself. That's the only way you can get it. So prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and so on. So one of these is one of these numbers, okay? Obviously, it's not 11 or 13. I am greater than 9. Okay, so if this number here is bigger than 9, this has to be 9. Okay, because above 9 would be 10, and it can't be 10, so it's got to be between 9 and 10 somewhere. So this is a 9. Exactly one of my digits is even. U equals M. So U equals M, so that's got to be a 9. Okay, so one of these is even, and one of these is these numbers. D equals U minus 1. So D equals U minus 1. So 9 minus 1 is 8. So there's your even number. So now I got to use one of these numbers. It can't be 2. Okay, so it's a 3, 5, or 7. I'm less than 9.9. Okay, that's true. The product of my digits has a 0 in the units place. Okay, we'll get there. D plus C is greater than U. Okay, so U is 9. So D plus C. So this number plus this number is greater than 9. Well, that's an obvious because no matter what number I put in here, this number will be greater than 9. Okay, so we need to use the product of my digits has a 0 in the units place. So product means multiply. So when we multiply these numbers together, the units place has a 0. So these are kind of big numbers, so we'll get out a calculator. If I take 9 times 8 times 9, I get this. Now, if I multiply it by 3, 5, or 7, I'll get a 0 in the units place. So if I take that times 3, I don't get a 0 in the units place. So we're going to go 9 times 8 times 9 times 5. Oh, I got a 0 in the units place, so this number has to be a 5. So 9.859. Again, this is the tough stuff here. I am less than half. Okay, half is a 0.5. So this number is less than 0.5. So this number is not 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? I am greater than 4.5. Okay, so if this is greater than 4.5, this right here has to be a 4. Okay, now I don't know what this could be, but I know that this number is between 0.5 and 0.4, which is a 0.4, and we'll fill in the rest. All of my digits are even. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. None of my digits are prime. Okay, 2 was a prime number, so it's not a 2. Exactly one of my digits is a perfect square. Okay, so I used 4. 4 is a perfect square. C is bigger than M. Okay, so if I use 0, then that would change things. Let's look down here. The product of C and M is 48. So I can't use a 0 here, okay? Because C times M is 48. I can't use 0, otherwise the product would be 0. And C is greater than M, so that would be 8 and 6. So 0.486. All right, now back to, this is super old stuff, okay? 16, split that 16 in half, you get 8 and 8. Split the 8 in half, you get 4 and 4. 4 and 4. Okay, you got two squares here, so a square is going to be worth 2. So this is a 2. So your squares or your triangles here have to add up to 2 to get your 4. So those are worth 1. Okay, so you get a 1, 1, 1. You got 2 and a 1. Okay, so you got 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So all of these add up to 1, which means each one of these is worth 1/3. Okay, because it takes 3 of them to get to 1. Here you got 4, 3, 2. So these two equal 1. So just one of them is worth a half. A half plus a half is 1. So a little tricky there. All right, so we have that this thing here is 12. This is 12. Okay, 28 divided by 2 is 14. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares. So 14 divided into 7 is 2. You got 14. This was worth 12, so you got 2 left over. So this is a 1 and this is a 1. So you got 2 stars to make a 1. That's a half again. And you got 3 leaves to make 1. That's a 1/3. Okay, so we're starting to put in some of these fraction things into previous things that we've already talked about. So the next thing you need to do is you need to finish up page 22, which is the additional practice. When you are finished with this page, you can go ahead and click on the quiz and get that quiz taken. And then the next day in class, we're going to start in on lesson 5, which is talking about equivalent fractions. Thanks for joining the lesson, and I will see you next time.